And we are recording once again. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning, Fenton. How are you today?
I'm great, man. Long time, long time coming. How are you? I asked you already. You're great.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. How's the after effects of COVID this week?
Still lingering. I feel a little chills right now. I'm a little hot. I mean, the window's closed, but and I'm wearing a sweatshirt, so But yeah, it's a little foggy. I'm sorry, what?
Well, you're coming along. You're coming along. Happy to have you back, at least at 95%.
Yeah, strong 75 is more like it. So everybody, we want to welcome you to Products of Circumstance, the podcast with Ken Skeen and myself, Fenton Joseph. We discuss mental health and mindset matters through the lens of Black men who have had COVID. We cover topics like family and relationship trauma, relationships with money, self-worth, positive thinking, gratefulness, and so much more. This show is unscripted, as you can tell. It's unfiltered and mostly unedited. We try to leave it basically intact as an organic conversation. And we choose our topics randomly, if you can believe it or not. Ken is the only one who knows what we're going to talk about every week, and we'll get into that in just a second. But first, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And as soon as I figure out how, I'm going to put a notification bell there when you play this back. Until then, we're just going to keep doing this every week, and I'll go back and add it in. So, all right, and most importantly, y'all, please share. All right, we do this because we want to help people on their mental wellness journey. And hopefully we drop some gems that, you can actually put into practice immediately. So if you get something out of it, please share it with somebody that you think might help. All right, Ken, what are we talking about today, bro?
All right, topic of the day. We're going to be talking about transitioning in your career, or taking a side step to what you've been doing or had a passion for, and maybe you're looking to change direction. Mm-hmm. Also taking skills and, where you can take skills from one career to another and transitioning yourself, and the process it takes sometimes mentally to transition because you're so used to something. Right. So you have transferable skills. People hear that term, transferable skills. So someone like me that's, I've been in sales now 12 years, but maybe even longer than that, because before I was in the car business, I was in construction as a project manager, actually co-owner of a construction company. And you have to sell yourself on, why your work is worth what it is, the time frame you can get it done, things of that nature. And then I took that with me into project supervision, project management. And then, of course, when I was 30, I transitioned into car sales, which is, yes, I'm 42 now. So that was 12 years ago.
My math is really bad. So thank you for that.
So, so I was able to take my transferable skills into different aspects of careers I've been into. And I'm actually going through that transition again, whether or not to stay in car sales or move on to something else. But talking from a personal note, and that's why I chose it as the conversation for today.
So where's your head at? What's it been like for you to even get to that point? Because obviously we talk offline, and I know that you considered looking at other automotive brands, right, to work at. And then you said, hey, I'm thinking about making a switch into a completely different industry in sales. So what were some of the challenges and the considerations that you've had mentally, because you're doing something that you're really good at and that everybody knows that you're good at, and then diving into waters that are like uncharted. I mean, what's that like?
So, I've done it before. I've had to do it twice now in my professional career. That is, you go through it in life, you're going to dive into waters you don't know. But when I went from being a business owner and then into project supervision, that was in 2005. I was 25 years old. I had never done it. I had, owning your own company and running that company and, doing most of the work hands-on. It's not like, I had a small crew. There's maybe 5 of us, but I did a lot of hands-on work, and then go into project supervision, where I was one of the younger project supervisors with a bunch of men that were in their 40s and 50s. And I'm explaining how to, I'm reading out blueprints and making sure things are charted out correctly. When construction took a dive in 2008 and 9, I had to transition into car sales. And that was just, my wife saying, hey, babe, try car sales. There's a bunch of ads in the paper. Mm-hmm. Again, moving on and going into uncharted waters, learning a new, it was still sales, but it was learning a new product and feature and benefit. I think one of the best things I did was go into car sales. It really taught me a lot about myself and people, the different people that come from different aspects of life, creed, religion. It's amazing learning that I guess that feature in yourself of being able to converse with different types of people. I do believe, look, I'm not saying sales is for everyone, but if every person when they're young could just take a sales job for 6 months to a year, a real sales job, and really interact with others, you'll learn a lot about yourself. You'll learn a lot about people. I'm 12 years in now, 9 years as a manager between new and pre-owned automotive sales. I've learned a lot about myself. I've made a lot of different connections. One thing about me, I'm not that typical salesperson. I don't care if you're a manager or not, you're still a salesperson.
Yeah. Even
when you are a manager, GSM, GM, whatever it may be. And one thing about me, when it comes to customers and coworkers, is that people know my work ethic and they know who I am as a person. I keep it real. And that's one thing that's definitely made me advance. It made me advance in my career.
Yeah.
But I guess I came to the point. I'm not saying I don't hate car sales. It's not that. I'm coming to a point in my life where it's, can I take those transferable skills into another career?
Okay.
And I guess that's where I'm teetering on that right now, on that wall of, do I stay or do I try something new and challenge myself again?
Any self-doubt there, or,
Yes, I'm human. I'm a human. I'm not going to sit in and say I don't doubt anything. Right. No, yes, there's some self-doubt, but then you have to fight forward, right? You have to push forward against that doubt. Otherwise, you're not going to break through that wall. Right. You're not going to break through that. You're not going to cross that line of what if.
Yeah.
So you're going to have self-doubt. If anyone says they don't, they're lying to you and themselves. Of course, there's some doubt. When I went into cars, when I went from being a salesperson and I got that, hey, Ken, we're going to bump you up into a manager position, I was ready for it. But yes, there was some doubt. Will I be able to? Well, all right, look, the managers I had that trained me, I will name them out loud. I had 3 people really training me when I first initially got into management. And that was Mr. Villani, Mr. Gomez, and Mr. Negri. They know who they are. I still consider them mentors to this day. Me and Mr. V talk probably on a weekly basis. And I still consider them mentors. I actually just saw Mr. V a couple days ago. We sat down, had a little powwow. But I was fortunate to have that kind of training. A lot of managers in this industry, I don't want to say a lot. All right. There's a good amount of managers in this industry that do not get the proper manager training.
Sure.
So I was able to get that. So my doubt was pushed aside because I had the network of people surrounding me saying, hey, let me show you the blueprint.
Interesting.
Right? Go back to my construction days. Let me show you the blueprint of what has to be done and what should be done, what your responsibilities are. I took it upon myself to, excel and say, I'll take those responsibilities, but I also want to do my mentorship. And that's one big thing that I did but still do as I'm a manager in the automotive industry. The mentoring of new salespeople, the mentoring of managers up and coming. I love that aspect of the industry.
So you try to make sure that people who are getting bumped up. Well, you know what? I'm gonna table that for a second, just because I want to go back to something that you said. You talk about getting the training, right? You train other people now, but in order for you to get into the management role, you had training, and that helps you to put aside your doubts because, like, well, I don't have questions really about whether or not I can do this. They're showing me exactly what it is that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And I think that for a lot of times when people make career changes and they're trying to figure out whether or not it's something that they can do, and they're dealing with feelings of self-doubt, a lot of times it's just they don't have the information. You know, it's like, I don't know if I can do this because I don't know what needs to be done. But if I had somebody tell me, show me, yo, what is it that you actually do when you're in management? I used to sell cars. Now I want to sell this. What exactly does it entail to learn that product? How much time do I have to spend to learn that product or service? All right, cool. I think I can do that. Or that might be too much. I'm just going to stay in my lane. Like for me, one of the biggest jumps for me was going into project management as a digital project manager in the advertising world. And, you know, it might... it's humorous now to say this stuff out loud, but it was a fake it till you make it kind of thing. You know, I had two people in my life. It was my good friend Tim and my brother Sheldon, and they were both in project management. One was specifically in project management in advertising world, right? And the other one was in IT project management. And I always jokingly say, like, yeah, you know, these guys aren't that smart. If they could do it, I could do it. I want to say publicly, they're two of the smartest people that I know. One is my brother. One is, you know, my other brother from another mother. These are very, very bright guys. But, you know, when you're close to people, you're like, what's so special? So I actually have Tim on text literally right now. I'm going to send him the link for this. When I saw that they were able to take their skills that they had from other roles that they've done and successfully transfer that into project management, I was convinced that I could do it. And they also helped to convince me that I could do it because now I had an inside track, right? I was doing did all types of corporate stuff. And this was a completely new thing, except it wasn't, because I'd been building websites for 20 years now, right? Like when I got into the ad world, it was like I think it was 2014 is when I started trying to get into the ad world, 2014, 15. So that was like, you know, my math isn't that great, like 7 years ago. Before that, I've been building websites for a couple of years, over a decade. I understood the process of building a website. I'm still a little sick, sorry, y'all. And a digital project really is a project. It has a beginning, it has an end, and there's a bunch of steps that you do in between. You know this in being in construction, right? You have a blueprint for the house. There's a day that you start, there's a target date to end, and there's a bunch of stuff that a bunch of people are doing in between. And we just need to make sure that we get to the finish line on schedule, on budget. That is it. It doesn't matter how technical anything gets underneath there. I had a boss who used to say, like, if you're a digital project manager and you could build a website, you can go be a foreman on a construction site. Project management is project management. And we all take the PMP exam, right? The project management practitioner or whatever exam. It's a standardized thing. It's not specific to any industry. If you understand project management, you can manage any project. Thanksgiving dinner, iPad application build, it's all the same crap. So my point in bringing that up is that we had to change the narrative and the way that I was looking at it. Because I was telling Tim and Sheldon, I don't know, guys, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know about how to do this, and like, dude, you know how to do it. You understand the basic steps. You just have to learn the nuance. And that is what got me to a place where I felt confident enough to submit a resume that I didn't think was complete, you know, lies and nonsense. I was like, no, I actually did manage this type of project. I actually did do these things. I can do this. And eventually the fake it till you make it mentality turned into real confidence. And by my first year in it, I felt like I belonged. I was like, nah, I'm not a fraud. I'm really doing this. I'm a project manager and I can make this a career. Of course, I burnt out. It totally didn't work out. And now I run my own business. But the what you said about having a community and having people to show you the ropes and help you, figure out what needs to be done, that does a heck of a lot, to get those jitters out of your head. So if somebody's watching this and, you're in a place where you've been in an industry for a while and now you're thinking about switching, but you're not sure if you can cut it in this new industry, find that baseline, figure out those commonalities where, well, this is basically the same and I just got to figure out the nuances. In a different kind of sense, I've done a lot of new things. I like new things. I get bored very easily. So, like, even working at the mortgage company, I worked there for 7 years and I had 5 different roles in 7 years. I moved around a lot within the company.
What'd you do within the company?
I started out in sales and then I became a quality assurance analyst, reviewing mortgage files. And then I did title. I got my notary and became a
Oh,
title
wow.
agent. That was short lived. And then I started running customer service. I was a client relations manager. And then I got bumped up to director of corporate communications. I was running all corporate communications, nationwide for the company. And it was the through line was people. It was people.
Okay.
I like people. I like talking to people. Similar to yourself, in sales, you meet lots of people. And
Yeah.
I have a customer service background. When I was a kid, I'm not gonna do the story time, but when I was a kid, I worked at 1-800-Flowers. I worked at Chase Bank through Westbury High School. They had an apprenticeship program, and the kids got to go work at these jobs for part time. And what was cool was I learned how to talk to people. So I'm like a 15-year-old kid working at 1-800-Flowers, taking calls from all around the country. People are mad about their flower orders that didn't come through, whatever. And I'm doing sales. Yeah. It's Mother's Day. Mom didn't get her flowers. You people suck. How do you diffuse that situation? Right? Telling people about convincing somebody to get the $69.99 flowers over the $49.99 one. Upselling. When I got into Chase Bank, I was a customer service rep. You're calling people, yo, y'all took $30 out of my bank account in late fees. What's the problem? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, sir, well, so forth and so on. You know what I'm saying? Like diffusing those situations and you rise up the ranks. It's like as you get better at better and you begin to realize there was no difference between 15-year-old Fenton working at 1-800-Flowers and 20 whatever year old Fenton working at running client relations and dealing with attorney general's offices from people who were called to complain because they thought something was wrong with their mortgage. The intensity and the severity, rather, I guess the gravity of a mortgage compared to a flower order seems more severe. It seems like it's got more weight to it. But at the end of the day, people just want to be heard.
Yes.
And this. People,
I was literally about to say that.
they just want somebody to
heard.
hear them out. A lot of times, bro, I can't, if I had $1 for every time somebody would chew my ear out over the phone and people were looking like, yo, how do you let people yell at you like that? I'm like, first of all, they're not yelling at me. They don't know me. It's got nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything to them. It's not me. I sit there on the phone for half an hour with somebody. And when they're done, okay, how can I help you? What can we do to solve the problem now?
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the resolution and you find out that they just want somebody to hear them yell for a little while and then help them out. And it's the same stuff I was doing when I was 15 years old.
Yes.
And then the project management stuff, it's the same thing. People just want to be heard. Oh, this thing's running late. This thing's over budget. Somebody wants somebody to hear them vent, and then, you fix the problem.
Right.
Running a business today, it's all the same thing. Microphones. It doesn't matter whatever I've done in my life, bro. It's all been about how you relate to people. And that's why I love what you said about kids in school getting a sales job. That should be mandatory. It should
Right?
should be mandatory. And if you're hearing this right now and you're not understanding why, because when you're in sales, you have to open yourself up to people, right? You open yourself up to being very vulnerable. You also open yourself up to influencing people and influencing their behaviors. Learning how to influence behavior through words. I mean, you're one of the most persuasive people I know. You know what I'm saying? But you're also one of the most empathetic people that I know, and compassionate people that I know, and generous people that I know. Salespeople tend to be like that. We can relate to anybody because when you have to earn your keep, when you have to hunt, you know what I'm saying, and kill in order to eat, you get really good at being in any situation and figuring out how to adapt. It doesn't matter who walks through the door. You have to sell them. I'm not going to get the same person every time who wants to buy a website from me. I'm going to deal with all types of people. They might be nice. They might be mean. They might be crazy. It doesn't matter. I have to sell them. And so the mentality that I know you and I have developed over the years is one of adaptability. We're not scared. You may have some doubts sometimes, like you said, but you can overcome those doubts through information. They're knowledge gaps. The doubts are just information gaps. We could fill that in and then we know, and then, what's there to be worried about? But people have to learn how to be adaptable and deal with people. And I think, trying something in sales. So now we're trying to convince everybody to be a salesperson.
Listen, it's a skill that you can transfer in different careers. I do believe. Listen, not everywhere. I can't even say that because I'm so ingrained. I'm so ingrained into sales that I feel you can truly use it in some form.
Everything is sales.
Everything that you're going to encounter in life. Sales. Everything is sales. You have to sell yourself most of the time, right? When you're interviewing, you're selling yourself. When you go on a first date, you're selling yourself.
Sales.
When you come on, when you can picture anything at this point, and you are selling yourself. You're a lawyer. You're a doctor. Why you're the best surgeon? Why you're the best? You can fix a flat the fastest with the most efficiency. You're selling yourself. So truly, a barista making your coffee, you're selling yourself. So again, I know Fenton agrees with me with this. You can truly take that transferable skill anywhere in any aspect of life. Prove me wrong.
No one's gonna be able to prove you wrong. And just to make sure that we don't seemingly get too far off topic, because we're actually very much on topic, because we're talking about the mentality of transferable skills and going from one, role to a next. And the mentality that's required is you got to know what you know. You got to know what you're good at. We just happen to be talking about a skill that we think everyone should be good at and should develop because it's one of the greatest transferable skills, which is sales, which is just the ability to help people make good decisions for themselves. That's all it is. Right. But there are other things that, from a mental perspective, that you need to consider when you're going from one role to the next, which could be shame. Fenton, what happened to Olive Branch Digital, bro? The website thing didn't work out. You're trying something different. Ken, what happened with the automotive world? It didn't work out. Why are you trying something different? People ask questions. We were talking about that. People ask questions. What happened? How come you're doing something different? And for a lot of people, that's enough to make them stop right in their tracks and say, I don't want to have to answer the questions about why I'm changing careers. People have expectations of their families, their spouses, their parents, their kids. What do you say to your kid? Am I a failure because I'm doing something new in life? I don't know. Some people might feel that way. Their friend group might change because they're no longer running in this certain circle. I don't know. Maybe there's a website, community. There's not. But maybe there's a website community of people that hang out and, drink beer and talk about coding. And now I don't get to hang out with those people anymore.
There might be, man.
But are you strong enough mentally to deal with the opinions of other people when you transition? That's something that I think you need to overcome really quickly, because, and I'll say this last thing and I'll shut up. All the people that we look up to, Elon Musk, let me not use all is an absolute. That's not a good word, but there are successful people who have done a lot of different things in life and they start a lot of different businesses. Let's just focus on serial entrepreneurs. How about that? So it's unassailable. A serial entrepreneur like an Elon Musk, who I believe is currently the richest man in the world. How many businesses has he started? Has anyone said to Elon, what happened? What happened to PayPal, bro? Didn't work out, the whole payment thing. It's like, yeah, he sold it for billions and, you know, did something else. Like, it's good to try your hand at different things. We have different seasons in life. No one says you have to do the same thing for the rest of your life. I'm not going to be building websites for the rest of my life. I might be building websites in the next 5 years, and I could care less. I've made a career in mortgages. I've made a career in the ad world. I've made a career in microphones and made a mark. I'm Black History, okay? World's first Black-owned microphone company. I've made music. I still make music. I've built a website company. And God knows what else I'll do. And that those are like only two of those things are actual jobs that I've had. The mortgage industry and the ad world are jobs that I've had. I've had other businesses too. Some of them look at my kid's gonna look at me and be like, gee, Dad, you sure are all over the place. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think she'll look at other people's dads and be like, yo, your dad ain't doing enough. My dad's out here running circles around you. What's up? Keep up. I don't care what anyone thinks about my history and what I do. I could care less. What I care about is doing the things that make me happy, being constantly curious, being a lifelong learner, being somebody who gets in at the ground level and builds things and adds value in whatever situation I'm in. And I'm strong enough to know that that's what I bring to the table, and I could do it over and over again for the rest of my life. So what do you bring to the table?
Right. I like that you just mentioned being curious in life, right? So trying different things, because how do you know what you're going to love or like if you don't try it? It's not on my LinkedIn profile, but there was a time when I made a t-shirt company just to see what would happen. I had read, whose book was it? It was Mark Echo's book I read.
Mark Echo.
It was one of those books I just kind of picked up. I was like, let me read it. Why not? It seems interesting. It was talking about his journey from, stores and manufacturers, not wanting to deal with him and going to conventions, setting up his own booth because they didn't want him in there. And I thought those were pretty interesting books. So I'm like, I wonder if I could make a t-shirt company. I actually ended up making one. It was called Code 13 Apparel.
Code 13.
I was able to get into 4 stores. I had to sell myself. This was a while ago. This was probably 10 years ago. And it went on for about a year and a half until I had no more time to do it. Yeah, I got into 4 stores between Long Island and Queens and had my own shelving, and they set me up and actually sold some product online too. And it was just to see if I could do it. It was literally just to see, I wonder if I could make a t-shirt company.
You did it.
I did it. Yeah, why not, right? I also did life insurance for a year and a half.
No kidding.
Again, just...
Think about the experience.
Little bit of side business stuff, and
you made a t-shirt company.
Yeah, I guess
from scratch, out of nothing, out of thin air, and then there's product on shelves, and everything that went into that is now up here, and the memories are there, and you can share that with your family. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, look what I did. Look what I built. And I know that your wife was involved with that.
Yes, she was.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people take for granted, and this is a big part of the mentality. If you're trying to switch careers, if you're transitioning from one role to the next, don't discount your experience. Code 13 isn't on your LinkedIn, but we can't erase that from the annals of history. You did it. It happened. And
I don't know if you...
Whatever it is that you've done previously, there are things that you can pick from and say, that can fit in my new future. That can fit in my new role. You just have to do a little bit of, historical research. And most importantly, don't be your own worst enemy, like we talk about.
Yes.
Don't tell yourself that you can't do it. Don't say, well, this was just a little thing that I did. It doesn't really matter. My friends telling me, Fenton, you did this and it matters and it's important and it's legitimate, that's what allowed me to get into project management, because I had two people that convinced me that there was merit and worth to what I had done in my past that I didn't see it. I didn't think it was important. I didn't think it was worthwhile mentioning. And they convinced me that it was. And that really did change my life for the better, because I got into the project management and I became a better project manager. And that was something that was missing from my, entrepreneurial, side of me. Was I wasn't the best project manager. I needed to get better at budgets and scoping and vendor management and timelines. I needed to really learn that stuff through and through. And when I left the ad world, I was so much more well equipped to be, an entrepreneur. And you could look back directly in my history and see why other businesses didn't work out for the long term, because I would make mistakes. There were things that I was dropping the ball at. I learned how to do those things on a day job, but if I hadn't listened to my friends and if I had discounted myself, I probably might not be here today. I mean, God's going to do what he's going to do, and, things work out however, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it would have worked out.
Right. It like you were saying, I'm going to just add on to that, go into the archives that you have sitting in your brain, because they're sitting there for you to use them, hopefully, maybe sometime along your path. But yeah, those things that you've picked up, those skill sets you've picked up. And again, you could be in your 20s listening to this. You've picked up skill sets as you went along, whether or not you've been in a career that you chose, or you've had, quote unquote, I know we call them odd jobs, but in those different jobs you've had or situations you've been through, you've picked up things and you've stored them in your archive, in your Rolodex, right? You can use them. You can use them to your benefit. You can use them to advance. And as you go on in life, again, now we're talking to like those 30, 40, 50-year-olds. As you go on in life, you can always change your path with things you've learned in previous careers or previous jobs. Because I don't want to say career for everything, because not everyone feels they're in a career yet. They still think of it as a job. So if that's the case, just know that you can always transition. You can always transfer a skill set or skill sets to another venture. But you've got to believe that you can do it, even with doubt. So don't let someone's, I hate saying failure, don't let someone's disconnect from, like, if you're going for a career to be a pilot, but you have a friend that went to be a pilot and was not able to pass the class, okay? Let's just use that. Right. They'll tell you all the negative of being a pilot. Well, you got to learn all these buttons. You have to learn all the codes, and it was just impossible, and it was hard, and I couldn't do it. Well, don't listen to that person. They couldn't do it. Maybe it wasn't for them. So,
oh my God. I'm so sorry. Don't you hate people like that? I'm sorry, hate. I cannot stand people like that. I'm doing this thing. Oh, well, you gotta get ready because such and such, and it was horrible and it's bad and it's this and that. And it's like, okay, that's for you. That was your experience. That has nothing to do with my experience. Your words have had no bearing on my experience whatsoever. And just because something was hard for you, well, I'm not saying it's not going to be hard for me, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. Right. Like, how is it productive to just unload all of your negative experiences on somebody who's trying to do something?
It's not. Not.
Go back to that toxic people episode and start loving that person from afar. Don't need that.
Right. Sorry. So, stop. It's all right. Yeah, but that wraps up what we're the message we're hopefully bringing to anyone listening in. Just stay your course. Yeah. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Stay your course.
I have one thing to say. Go ahead. Do it scared. Ooh. Do it scared. None of this stuff is easy. we say it all the time. We get on here and it's like we're not on some high horse, like, you know, like we know it all. Or like one thing that we can say is we've done a lot of this stuff. We've both transitioned many times over in our lives. We've built the planes on the way down after we jumped off the cliff. You know, it's hard and it's scary, especially when you have responsibilities. We're married men with kids. Okay, we got responsibilities. It's all scary. None of it is fun. And so what? Do it scared. There was a quote, Serena Williams, I saw the other day. I'm going to botch it up, but she said something to the effect of, I'm lucky that something like my will to win is greater than my fear. Okay. Something like that. It's like whatever it is that she fears, that's fine. I have fears too. Okay, great. But I want it so bad that I can overcome the fear of it. You just got to do it scared. So please don't let the fact that you don't know everything get in the way of you doing something that you want to do, because all this stuff is new. Getting married was new. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Being a dad is new. Still don't know what I'm doing. Starting a podcast is new. Running a business is new. It's all new. It's all scary. You have no idea what you're doing until you get there, but you'll live to tell the story, and it'll be a great story, and it'll be better than being scared and being like, you know, I wanted to do this one day, but I never did because I don't know. It's like,
right. Don't regret. Don't regret.
Listen, I don't hang out with those people. I'm not saying I'm better than. I'm just saying in my circle, we don't have a lot of those people that say, you know, I wanted to, I wish I did. I don't hang out with those people. I don't know what it is, Ken. I'm just saying, birds of a feather flock together. I tend to hang out with people that's taking big risks and doing really big things and just building the plane on the way down. Birds of a feather. You want to hang out with all the people whose glory days were in high school? That's you. That's your business. I have fun at the diner.
Do you, boo-boo?
Have fun at the diner.
Hey. Diner food's pretty good. I kind of miss going to the diner at 2 a.m. Just not at the previous stuff, not the club stuff. Just the 2 a.m. Omelet with some home fries.
I miss going to the diner with my wife, because we used to go to the diner and just like kick it, and that was fun.
See?
But not going to the diner with the people who never do anything.
I agree.
I don't hang out with those people. Diner food is overpriced.
Yes, it is. Listen, sir, you have a blessed day.
You too, my man. Enjoy. Y'all be good. Share this with somebody that you know, like, and love. You want to help. Peace.
Deuces.